killing spree. I microwes.
Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. How's my voice? I sound good? I sound bad? I sound terrible? Something in between? All right, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this week I will be casting, well, it is week 3. But I will be casting tier 1 games, 4 of them, from Flashcoin Whales, which is my team. So I might be slightly biased, versus Shift Clique. And I'm just sort of setting up the first game now. We're going to go straight into Abgee versus the Hide. Is my headset better? I just hear most of the sound from my left speaker. Ooh. No. That's me, I think. That's me. I thought I fixed that. Let me see if I can quickly fix that before going forward. How's this? This better? This better? Left ear loving the cast. Yeah, there we go. All right, I just needed to sync it down to mono. I think my my mic is only like a mono thing, and it defaults to the left side or something like that. But anywho, let's go into the first game. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see CPL 11 week 3 tier 1 on Dominator? On Dominator? Hold on. I think this is actually deja vu. Let's start over, all right? Listen, look at the screen, okay? CPL 11 week 3 tier 1 on deja vu. It is Abgee for Flashcoin Whales versus Shift Clique. Sorry, versus the Hide for Shift Clique. It's CPL 11. Everything works. Everything is correct. Nothing is a disaster. Let's just get started. All right. Wait, since when do you cast Brood War? I've been casting Brood War for a couple months now, I'd say. Since the NSL, which happened, it started like last summer. But yeah, I'm a Brood War caster now. Well, I'll also cast Starcraft too, but I haven't played in a while. Anyways, on the bottom right, we have the Hide playing for Shift Clique. And on the bottom left, we have Abgee playing for my team, the Flashcoin Whales. We're going to have a lovely PvP today, which is, I think, a matchup that is a little bit underrated. Or it might be overrated by me. It's one or the other, because I actually really like PvP, personally. I think PvP is a very fun matchup to play and watch because, well, mostly because I like Dragoons and I like Reavers, and these two are like my favorite units as Protoss. So like PvP is literally just Dragoon Reaver versus Dragoon Reaver. You know what I mean, guys? And that is muy bien. Both players going for Gateway in the main. This is like pretty standard. Abgee going for the cross map scout, so that's pretty interesting. No, he's just scouting the middle for he's scouting the middle for the classic double gateway in the center of the map. In the industry, we like to call that center gates. How come the shift to Brood War? I don't know. I was getting a little tired of StarCraft 2, I think. A little bit. The Zerg meta right now is like, in StarCraft 2 at least, the Zerg meta is a little bit not, I'm not really feeling like going like really defensive Roach Lurker style. I just don't really like that very much. And then I started playing Terran in StarCraft 1, and it's been a lot of fun. What do we have here? We have a Pylon built on the top right corner, I feel like we're gonna start to see some DT action going on here. This probe is going to come up here, but actually I think this is a terrible proxy location because Abgee's just gonna come over here and he's gonna scout the main anyway. You have to scout the main. Look, he's gonna come up here and he's gonna see a pylon and then he's gonna see no nexus. What is going on? He's gonna be like, what the hell? Dude, if I was Abgee right now, I would be very, very confused. It's like, did his nexus not spawn? Like, is there something wrong with the game? But yeah, that is a very interesting location for a proxy pylon. I wonder if it's a fake, actually. Like, it's a fake out. You just put it there just to screw with your opponent. And you just make them, like, scout that every once in a while. And it's actually, like, completely meaningless. That would be, like... That would be pretty big-brained, I think. The Hyde also, I think, skipped his first Zealot, which is always kind of risky to do in this matchup. If you don't have the first Zealot, you could be very vulnerable to, like, 2-gate. Because if you skip straight to Goon... I think you can get more probes or you can get tech faster that way. But you don't have the initial Zealot to fend off the initial 2 Zealots that a 2-gate would come in with. But it looks like the Hyde is going to get away with that this time around. And he is already starting to position his Dragoons on the high ground. Disgusting place to put your units, by the way. One of the reasons why I hate Deja Vu as Terran is it's just so hard to push up this ramp. I actually played Abgee on this map like 1 or 2 weeks ago, and he just sat Dragoons here in an arc, like Artosis ladder style, just like, he just sits there. The Hyde with his 3 Dragoons is more than capable of fending this off. Also, the high ground advantage is huge. So Abgee is unfortunately forced to retreat, and this Zealot could actually get picked off. Oh my god, 1 HP, are we kidding me? The one singular regen from the shield saves the Zealot, and it looks like it is actually Abgee who is the one going DTs this game, not the Hyde. But the Hyde did get a Forge and Photon Cannons, so unfortunately DTs are just not gonna do anything, like, straight up. This is just an L for Abgee. This is it's quite unfortunate. Yeah, it's still 0-0. Yeah, this is actually, he's just gonna run past. 1 DT does go down, but the second one gets through, and this cannon is just gonna finish on time. I think he might be able to get a couple probe kills, but ultimately it's not gonna do nearly enough damage to really make this rush worth it. Because now we see Hyde already ahead in workers by a little bit, but now with 2 Nexuses constantly producing, it's going to be hard for Abgee to come back. Luckily for him, he catches these Dragoons out on the middle of the map with no observer, because obviously nobody has a robo yet. So the Hyde is going to be pushed back, and this will allow Abgee to safely take a Nexus of his own. But unfortunately, this Nexus is going to take however long it takes a Nexus to build to finish. Does anyone know how long it takes a Nexus to build? Because I don't. Like, 50 seconds? In this matchup, it takes like 2 years. In Protoss versus Terran, it takes like 5 seconds. I think that's how it works. I might be biased as a Terran player, but I'm pretty sure it takes like 5 seconds. Especially if it's if you put down a Nexus cross spawn, then it takes even less time. I'd say it takes about 15 seconds for a Protoss to get an entire base with 20 gateways and cannons up. Only if it's on the other side, if it's in another main. Yeah, if Artosis is playing, then it's instant. You're so right. You can't stop it. Alright, so the one nice thing about Abgee's position is he does kind of have map control. And he's sort of skipping straight to Templar tech. So normally in like very, very, very standard Protoss versus Protoss, you would go like Mass Dragoons and then Dragoon Reaver. And then only in the late game, like once you start to have like, I don't know, once you start to have like 2 to 3 bases, and you start to have a lot of gas, you can start going Templar tech, and then Storm suddenly becomes like the big, you know, hard-hitting AoE over Reavers. But it seems like Abgee is just going to skip straight to the Templar tech because, well, if you're going DT, you already have Templar archives, so you might as well. You might as well. But as you can see, the Hyde, having his Nexus so much quicker means he's just able to pump out so many more units. He doesn't have that many probes, like, compared to Abgee, like, 36 to 33 is, like, pretty even. But that's just because this entire time he's been focusing on building so many units. I feel like the Hyde needs to actually get something done with this. This is a very, very scary army, by the way. Like, this can easily win the game. But if Abgee holds this push, then the two of them are actually quite even, right? Like, their probe count is very even, and I would say Abgee might even be a little bit ahead because of his tech. We see Robo with Observer coming out for the Hyde, but no, you know, we don't see a Citadel or a Templar Archive. So this attack is actually going to be super important for the Hyde. He's going to come in here. He has so many Dragoons. The first storm goes down on a couple of them. Not the greatest, but also not the worst. We might potentially see a second and third storm come out of this High Templar. The Hyde's Dragoons are bugging out a little bit. Some of them are walking away. A huge storm goes down on the Dragoons on the south side, but is that going to be enough? A third storm, and that's going to be all the storm that Abgee has. He needs to retreat back to this cannon because there is just an overwhelming number of Dragoons for the Hyde. But this might not actually be enough. The reinforcing Dragoon plus the cannon is just going to barely hold this off. And I think that is the last we will see of the Hyde's initial advantage. Now the two players are quite even. I would say even a little bit ahead for Abgee because of his tech. He's moving up with his Dragoons and finishing off this army. Very, very well played from Abgee. Yeah, Storms look very weak in PvP, but that's only because they don't insta-kill things like they do. Like, one Storm doesn't kill, like, 15 Dragoons like they can do with Hydras. But you can't deny that those 3 Storms did an unbelievable amount of damage to the Hyde's Dragoons. So that was actually very well held by Abgee. The Hyde, unfortunately, losing a lot of his early advantage there. Shuttle is out, so we might be in for some storm drops. Storm drops, of course, probably the most one of the most scariest things in this entire game. It's like they drop 2 Templar in your mineral line, and within like 2 seconds, the entire mineral line is gone. It's just over. They're all dead. They're all dead. So the Hyde is doing a little bit of like an interesting maneuver, sort of hiding his Dragoons up here, just looking for things to pick off. They're going to get this cannon, and we are starting to see High Templar being loaded onto the shuttle. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to equate to Storm Drop. This could just be like, because your Templar are so slow, you want to load them up in shuttles. And I know Abgee has been practicing his Templar play in PvT, where you load up Templars into shuttles and just like attack them with your army, and that's very strong. But yeah, these Templar are actually quite flexible. You can do a lot with them. You can drop them in the bank. They're essentially Reavers that have to bank energy, right? But they're kind of better. Oh, there are quite a number of cannons, but they're not going to kill this fast enough. One Templar gets dropped. Oh no, I almost missed the storm because I clicked the wrong place, but that was a crazy storm. That probably killed around half the probes in that mineral line, and now we see Abgee taking the lead in the probe count. So this is so far just like very well played from Abgee. coming out of the start of the game quite behind with his failed DT rush, but now we're going to try to push up this cliff, which is unfortunately one of the hardest things to do in Deja Vu, and he is going to be forced back. He might try and regroup and push again, but this time with Templar Storm. But of course, on top of having the 50% miss chance, you also have no vision. And I think he's, at this point, sacrificing Dragoons to just get a feel for how many Dragoons his opponent has. These are quite expensive scouts, right? This ain't no Zerg where you can just like sacrifice 1 or 2 lings to get some scouting information. Dragoons cost 125 minerals and 50 gas. That is not a negligible amount of stuff. But oh my god, we actually see a Reaver and a Storm come out of this shuttle, but this is unfortunately going to be quite an expensive drop, and not going to get all that much done as well. But this is interesting, Abgee going for the Reaver. So he didn't end up skipping the Dragoon Reaver shuttle stage of the game. He just kind of did the order in a little bit of a weird, he just did it in a bit of a weird order, right? Like, because normally you see Dragoons into Dragoon Reaver, into Dragoon Reaver Zealot, into Dragoon Reaver Templar Zealot. But Abgee kind of going for DT into Dragoon Templar, into Dragoon Templar Reaver Zealot. Definitely not something I'm used to seeing, that's for sure. But look at this. The Hyde actually taking his 3rd base now. That is quite a bit before Abgee, and Abgee taking him a 3rd base for himself now as well. It's going to come quite a bit later compared to the Hyde. So once again, we might see the Hyde go into the next fight with a huge army lead, if he's allowed to macro out of this 3rd base as well. Currently, he's only on 8 gateways, which is, well, I say only, but it's actually 2 more gates than Abgee has. But now we see Abgee trying to push up this ramp once again. Speed Zealots on the field, as well as a Reaver. Good Storm coming from those Templar, but the arc from the Hyde is actually huge. Unfortunately for him, the Zealots on the top side are actually completely wrecking through the Dragoons, and now the Hyde is unfortunately forced to retreat. The Dragoon heavy army unable to stand up to Abgee's combined arms forces. He has some High Templar of his own, but they don't quite have enough energy, just barely having enough at this particular moment right now. So he might turn around and start storming Abgee's army. This is what he needs to defend this attack. A big storm coming down on these Dragoons, completely destroying all of their shields. A second storm might be incoming, maybe. But no, Abgee spots a weakness in the Hyde's defense and going for the top right 3rd base. He might get the punish on this base because the Hyde's army is unfortunately not positioned to defend this. A storm going down on some empty terrain, not quite finding its mark. But Zealots are now coming out for the Hyde as well. And he is going to be able to defend this base. Behind this, Abgee's base has now supplanted onto the forward 3rd location. He has a decent worker lead, although I would say in terms of economy, at this point in the game, both players are looking very, very even. So far, I've been liking the engagements out of Abgee. I think he's been getting he's been finding himself in quite advantageous positions because of that. Unfortunately, not quite able to kill this Nexus, but he was able to equalize the economy in a way, which was pretty nice. The Hyde now charging in with quite a strong army, 17 supply ahead, but this time his army is quite advanced as well, not just Dragoons. Oh my god, so many probes in the middle of a transfer. Are they gonna get stormed? Oh my god, a couple of them actually went back. I think that was a little bit of a mistake from Abgee, but unfortunately those probes didn't all need to die there. The Hyde wins the fight like pretty convincingly in the middle of the map, but unfortunately he doesn't seem to be quite able to push in and take any bases. I don't know if he's really able to come out of this fight doing any kind of permanent damage. But we'll see. The natural is a little bit undefended. There's only one damaged photon cannon here. And I think the Hyde recognizes this. He's kind of going in for the kill. A lot of the Dragoons stuck killing the pylon, which could be buying Abgee like critical seconds for his reinforcements to come in. One Reaver, unfortunately not going to be enough to defend 5 Dragoons, but he is going to try. A storm goes down, damaging the shuttle. Oh, and the shuttle goes down and only the Reaver remains. A big Scarab hits a lot of these Dragoons, but unfortunately Abgee might lose every single probe he has. But wait, where are the storms? Oh my god, none of these Templar actually have energy. I feel like if there was even one storm in that situation, Abgee could have lost like every single one of his probes. But now the Hyde is moving into the main base of Abgee. There are 2 slow Reavers here, and that should probably be enough to defend this. Oh my god, those Scarabs. Oh my god, the Scarabs are huge. Zealots are not very good against Reavers. Oh my god, another storm goes down. These Reavers are so damaged. But unfortunately, the stream of units from the Hyde proving to be too much. And it is GG 1-0 for the Hyde. Let's see. All right. Well played. Let's go into the next game. Into the next game. All right, here we go. Game number 2 of Abgee versus the Hyde. Protoss versus Protoss. This time we are going to be on Eclipse. Spawning on the top right-hand side, the winner of the last game, the Hyde. And on the bottom left, in the more natural terrain setup, we have Abgee, looking to get some revenge from last game. We actually have Abgee in the chat. I didn't macro while I was attacked, or sorry, I didn't macro while I attacked, is why my supply was so much lower. That is true. That is true. Because it does seem like he was winning fights for much of the early to mid game, but unfortunately, for some reason, it just kind of seemed like he ran out of units. Although it is also true that the RiceHat did in fact have more gateways than Abgee for a much longer period of time. So it is a little bit to be expected that the Hyde ought to have more units in most situations. He also had his 3rd base earlier, his natural earlier. Like, a lot of things were going well for the Hyde in that game. And it all kind of goes back to the initial economic advantage that he had. Abgee certainly did have a timing to actually turn the game on its head and kill the Hyde, or just like punish him, or not even really punish him, but just like, you know, take out a base, kill a bunch of probes, do all that good stuff. But unfortunately, not quite able to do that last game. So I wonder if he's going to try to pull any tricks this time around, or if he's just going to play something standard. So far, both players doing some pretty standard opening moves once again. Nothing too weird, no pylon in a different main or anything like that. You know, I'm kind of thinking a little bit about that pylon that we saw in the last game. I feel like the other thing it could be is, what if the Hyde put the pylon in the other main to make it seem like he had his main base there? Like, he was hoping that Abgee would just like go up into that main, see the pylon, and then go home. And now from here on out, he just assumes that the Hyde is cross spawn. That would also be a crazy mind game that just like didn't work at all, because Abgee just like continued scouting up and saw that there was nothing there. I don't know. I feel like these Protoss players, like, sometimes they cook a little too hard. I don't know about you guys. I feel like, guys, do you remember that week 1 cast I did of the T3 games where that one guy, he built like a pylon and 2 cannons in like a far corner of his opponent's main, and I thought he was gonna like cannon push from there, but he didn't actually cannon push. He just did like a Sairless speed zealot all in, and then he just like retreated to those 2 cannons in the main, and the 2 cannons killed like 3 Hydras, and that, I guess that was the point of them. Do you guys remember that? I feel like Protoss players, like, they like to go into the build kitchen and cook up like weird, like all kinds of weird stuff. Oh my god, what is the Hyde doing? What is he doing with this probe? I think just checking for proxies. Just checking for proxies. Speaking of cooking, I should get back to my cooking. Yeah, you should, Dada. You definitely should. Yeah, you remember that? That was such a funny game. Oh my god. I once saw a Protoss build pylons and cannons outside of Soma's natural, like right in the open. He went, what? That is the proper response to seeing something like that. That is definitely the proper response. I kind of like, okay, I don't know if it's good or bad, personally, but I sort of like the way the Hyde positions his units. Just like, he always just puts them in kind of a forward position, like a forward sort of strong position. Like, here we see him like just on the edge of this high ground in Eclipse. Excuse me. This is something I personally like to do. I don't know if it's good. I actually think in a lot of situations it's quite bad. But it sort of gives you like peace of mind a little bit, where you're like, if my opponent like moves out or does something weird, I have like really early warning. But unfortunately, it's not the correct choice to do in a lot of cases, and I think the Hyde is getting a little bit punished here for doing that. But now that his reinforcing Dragoons are here, he's able to take this trade quite efficiently. He actually kills a Zealot and a Dragoon and loses nothing on his side. So that was actually really good from him. But oh my god, Abgee cannot stop going DTs. He cannot, this man, he will literally just do DTs every game. Holy. But look at this. The Hyde, I think he might have seen the squiggles from the DT, so now he's going to try to attack. Wait, maybe he doesn't know. Oh my god. No way. No way. So that was a good block attempt from the Hyde, but unfortunately one DT does slip in. So, you know, I guess he's just going to lose like every probe. GG. It's Protoss versus Protoss. Okay, so I do like to say that I think PvP is quite a fun and interesting matchup. This is probably an example of why that's not the case, because sometimes your opponent goes DT and you don't have anything to deal with it, and then you die. GG, it's over. GG, BG, who knows? All right, but that's good for us because it means we're gonna go into game number 3. Now, okay, that was kind of a sick mind game, though, from Abgee, because it's like, game number 1, he went DTs, and it completely didn't work. So he's just like, now, what happens if I just did that again? That's something you wouldn't expect as Abgee's opponent, is for him to just go DTs again. You know what I mean? All right, we are 1-1 on Dominator. It is once again Abgee versus the Hyde. The Hyde spawning on the top left, and Abgee spawning on the bottom left. All right, chat. Is Abgee gonna go DT again? What are your thoughts? Is he gonna go DT a third time? Because game 1, you go DT and it's like, okay, people pull that out game 1. Game 2, it's like, ain't no way he's going DT again, right? Game 3? Like, you just went DTs twice in a row. Is it smart or is it stupid to go DT again? Is that a smart move or is that a stupid move? Protosses? Because I already know, like, if you're Zerg or if you're Terran, you're gonna be like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like you're actually stupid if you do that. But I think Protosses will disagree. Yeah, Escalade says it's smart, and he plays Protoss. This checks out. This tracks. We see the High going for a forward gate, so this might be like Zealot pressure. It's possible. The other possibility is that he doesn't want to get contained here because Dominator is one of those weird maps where your natural is the high ground and your main is the low ground. So if you get a contain off like here, like if you sit Dragoons in an arc here, that's like kind of GG. It's like kind of over from that point on. So this could be Zealot pressure. This could be just you want to keep your units in your base. Or you want to keep your units... You want to keep your base from being contained. And as I am going on this rant, the second gateway does in fact get added, so it is going to be Zealot pressure. It is going to be Zealot pressure. And I think Abgee might have skipped the Zealot. I think that's... Ooh. I think Abgee might have skipped the Zealot. Because I do not see a Zealot in production, and there are already Zealots on the way from the hide. He's going to come in here, and he's going to be like, oh, shit. Oh, no. And there's a pylon building, and is there a forge on the way? No, I think it might just be shield batteries. It might just be shield batteries. Ooh. Well, it's going to come down to micro. If Abgee has, like, godly micro with his like one Dragoon that's about to pop, then he can hold this. Shield batteries are being put down as well as a second gateway. This is so far a good response from Abgee, but the first Zealot is already here before the Dragoon pops out. 1, 2, 3 shots to kill a probe, and this Zealot is now going to start trying to kill that one Dragoon. He's going to walk away before the second Zealot comes in to reinforce. Shield batteries from the high going down onto the high ground here. And now Abgee has to do the monstrous task of microing one Dragoon against 2 Zealots, which is unfortunately going to be quite impossible. And a third Zealot is now on the way here. Good drill on the bottom hand side, catching this Zealot sort of in the middle. And unfortunately, this Dragoon gets trapped. Oh, no! Oh, this might be over. I think the Hide won this game. That is unfortunate. The Hide getting a little bit of revenge for just getting DT rushed that last game. So there we go, GG, and that is all the PvP we're gonna be watching today. That is the last Protoss versus Protoss we're watching today. Not because I watched these past 2 games and decided the matchup is stupid, but actually just because the rest of the games are all Protoss versus Terran. They're all Protoss versus Terran. So guys, buckle in because we're going to be watching some PvT. All right. Who's up next? Who is up next? Let us see. Yeah, the clowning. The clowning never ends, bro. The clowning will never end. Up next on our list, we have Jinjin 5000 and Shafir. All right, let's just get straight into it. Spawning Whoa, wait, why are we on Eclipse? Hold on. Hold on. Why are we on Eclipse? Isn't the first map Deja Vu? I think I might have gotten the wrong replay. No, the first map is in fact Eclipse. All right. Okay. They might have uploaded in the wrong order. Names are changed by the web app. Is that true? All right. Well, we'll just watch it in the order that the web app has given me, because I personally don't know what the correct ordering is, and I don't personally feel like spoiling myself to the result of this of these games. So we'll just keep it as is. All right. We'll just keep it as is. Let's go back into the replay. Here we go. Spawning on the top right-hand side. It is our favorite CPL Korean video translator, Jinjin 5000. And on the bottom left, playing for Flashcoin Whales, it is Shafir. All right, first thing I have to point out, Eclipse is a Protoss favored map. I don't want to hear anyone argue with me on this. It is such a Protoss favored map, guys. I know all you Protosses don't like to think that, but it is so true. Eclipse is P-Clips. It is called P-Clips for a reason. Artosis is right. This map is so hard to play if you're Terran. And look, we already have Shafir's probe coming across the map, but he's not going to get the gas steal off because it was a little bit later than I would have liked. I think this was a gateway scout. This looked like a gateway scout, maybe a little bit later than a gateway scout. So he's going to come up here and not steal the gas, which is not something that I see Protoss players do that often. So, I don't know. Could be that Shafir is an honorable Protoss. Only plays like macro and solid standard games. That's possible. I mean, he is on Team Flashcoin Whales, and I think Team Flashcoin Whales is a mostly honorable team, unless you're Pack Rat, and then I guess you just make lings. I suppose. Oh my god. What is this probe doing here? What is this probe doing here? He could just be hiding there, honestly. The first Zealot is out, gets a little bit distracted by this initial SCV. He really needs to go across the map, not chase this SCV. But unfortunately, he does seem to be a little bit distracted. Broodboar units, of course, the masters of not doing what you actually want them to do. But this is pretty good for Jinjin. Like, having the Zealot stay home just sort of means that he won't get harassed here. And it could even mean that he doesn't need to go third depot, which just allows him to get his command center so much quicker. He puts the bunker, he goes bunker before CC, which is a very, very, very safe opener. But he is going to forgo the third depot and go straight for the command center right. We're going to get our CC. Oh my god. It's going to be DTs. Why would I ever think a Protoss player would be honorable? I don't know why I ever thought that, but wait, where is this vulture going? Where is the vulture going? Does he know? Does he know? Does he know? Oh, what? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Jinjin. My poor Jinjin. He is in for a very unhappy surprise, I think. This is, Okay, so the Vulture does come in here and spot there is no natural on the way. His command center is, in fact, faster than Shafir's Nexus, which is always like, if you scout that as Terran, it's like red sirens just blaring, like, something is wrong, you're getting cheesed. So he's doing the correct decision. Siege mode on the factory, eBay going down right away, and oh, the Vulture does eventually see this. He comes in, and the Templar Archives is still under construction, so Jinjin now knows exactly what's going on. Jinjin with the clutch, you know, Vulture follow-up scout. Now 2 turrets are going down just to be safe. Of course, when you're in this situation, you know the Protoss is only on 1 base. Like, you can sack your economy quite a bit and still come out of it ahead. So this is very good for Jinjin. Very, very good. DT is now on the way, but there are already 2 turrets. The bunker is still being repaired with 3 Marines inside. And there's no turrets in the main, so he's not exactly afraid of a DT drop. Which ultimately he shouldn't be, because if you're proxying DTs, you're not going to drop them, right? All right, it's good analysis. Good analysis. And look, it's even walled off. It's so done. Like, this rush is not going to do anything. Now, DT does do a lot of damage, but unfortunately the tank is sieged, and even if this bunker goes down, there's no way for the Protoss to actually do anything with this attack. And unfortunately, the bunker doesn't even die. It doesn't even die. This is looking very, very good for Jinjin. Very, very bad for Shafir. Now, I'm in a little bit of a weird situation because Shafir is actually on my team and I want him to win, but he's also Protoss, and I don't like it when Protosses win. So I think, who do I cheer for? Yeah, the Vulture's killing the pylon, and it's just gonna stay. No, it's gonna kill it. It's dead. This rush is over. This one Vulture MVP just destroyed the entire rush. And from this situation, what is the follow-up for both players? Well, for Jinjin, you could actually just play your normal game. Go for second factory, probably go into 5 factory and expand. That's sort of what my guess would be. Normally, Protosses who go DT will just go straight into Arbiter afterwards if the DTs don't kill you. And I think that's a reasonable follow-up because you already have like the Templar Archives and the Citadel and everything. He's not going to have it for a while, but... Or, sorry, he's not going to have it in a while, but he already put down the Arbiter Tribunal, right? So if you don't know, Arbiter Tribunal requires a Templar Archives to be built. So in the Protoss tech tree, that is pretty far down. But if you're rushing DTs anyways, you might as well go for Arbiters, because you already have like half the tech tree set up for your Arbiters, essentially. So 2-base Arbiter is in fact a very common follow-up to a DT rush, and that sort of pigeonholes the Terran into going for late game, because 2-base Arbiter defends like basically every 2-base Terran push, because you won't have enough detection to really engage into any Arbiter-based army, assuming that, you know, the engagement starts out like not inside your natural. Right? If it starts out inside your natural, they can build turrets, they just scan once and like move forward. But if you can catch them anywhere else and force them to use scans, at some point they'll just run out and the rush is over. It's just over. You can't do anything beyond that. So Jinjin making the smart decision, going for a command center off of only 3 factories. So this is actually, in fact, quite greedy from Jinjin. The meta right now is to go 5 factory, delay your upgrades a little bit, but it will guarantee that you have more units to be able to defend your 3rd base in case the Protoss goes for any kind of like bust off of 3 base or like a Reaver rush or anything like that. So this is quite greedy from Jinjin, but I think it's not going to be punished because Shafir simply does not have the units to punish this after going for 1 base DT into 2 base Arbiter. He just isn't going to have that many units. So this is so far pretty good for Jinjin. Pretty good. I expect, well, now he's adding up to 5 factory, and I expect him to go up to 7, 8, 9 factory quite soon afterwards. He's already starting to lay down mines in his main base, the vultures dancing on top of each other. And the mines are, of course, for Arbiter recall defense. What is this pylon wall? What is this pylon wall? Protosses in the chat. Is this what peak wall looks like? This is peak wall, I think. We have an observer kind of snooping around, but unfortunately for our Protoss player, there is quite a good amount of turret coverage. And this is part of the reason, no, this is a little bit part of the reason why Eclipse is kind of a nightmare for Terran, because the third base up here is so hard to defend because of all this open space around here. Like, how do you defend this much land? Luckily for Jinjin, he is quite ahead this game, so I would expect him to be able to take this third base quite safely. It's all going to come down to the late game, like 150 supply, like 2-1 Terran push, and how well Shafir can defend that. It's a layered wall, yeah. Yeah, it's got like this is the first layer with a hole in it, and this is the second layer with the bigger hole in it. Okay, here's what I think happened, okay? I think Shafir put down this pylon and then this pylon. And then he put down this pylon, and then he's like, oh, wait a second, this doesn't work. And then he put down this pylon and then this forge, and I guess he just put this pylon there for good measure. Like, I don't know. That's what I think happened. Or this is perfectly planned. Shafir's a better player than me. He's T1, I'm T2. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe there's some intricacies to this wall that I'm not really aware of. This is an interesting little army that Shafir is sort of roaming the map with. Normally you see Terrans kind of lay mines basically everywhere just to watch for Protoss movement. But that is unfortunately not what Jinjin has been up to all this time. He's in fact been laying mines in the main for recall defense, and mines at the third for recall defense as well. So Jinjin playing very, very, very safe, very conservative. And I think, honestly, that's probably the right move, because you should theoretically be very ahead from the early game. All right, Nexus goes down for Shafir. I think he might be positioning for some kind of big attack. It's pretty soon. This army movement is quite aggressive, but Jinjin is playing very safe. Like, I don't expect... Wait, do these vultures not have speed? That's kind of funny. This is a very late speed upgrade. Anyways, Shafir is now moving down from the left-hand side. He has one Arbiter and maybe like 2 or 3 control groups of units. That's actually not that many units. It's actually not that many. I feel like, especially right now, since his army is also a little bit separated from each other. Oh my god, these zealots are just all gonna die for free. This is not it. Ooh, alright. Well, unfortunately, that engagement doesn't go quite very well for Shafir, but now he's going to look to recall. The Arbiter is moving into the third base, and it's going to recall right on top of these mines! Oh my god! That is like 20 Dragoons instantly died there, and Jinjin skyrockets in supply. Holy hell. What a move. All these years of preparation has led up to the 8 mines being triggered on top of the entire Protoss army. This is looking really good for Jinjin. I would push right now if I was him. Unfortunately, Protoss, that was like the majority of Protoss's army. I don't know if Shafir can really come back from this, because this push is looking scary. We have an entire control group of tanks. We have Vessel. We have We have our vultures out in front. We're going to siege and try to engage. This is also a very smart engagement from Jinjin as well, choosing to go around the top hand side instead of over here where Protoss can camp the high ground. And we're going to, I'm assuming we're going to try to siege up over here and be able to hit 2 bases at once. These two, of course, the most important bases for Protoss right now because they have the freshest minerals. And a big engagement is going to start on the left-hand side of the map. The Protoss army is caught a little bit out of position. They're kind of running around, running for their lives a little bit. These Dragoons are trying to pick off as many vultures as they can, but the tanks are doing so much damage. So many of them are getting picked off. A second wave of Zealot tries to come in to clean up this mess, but unfortunately the Terran has too many units. This is the beginning of the end for Shafir for sure. Jinjin is now pushing into the natural from the top hand side. These tanks are a little bit exposed. If Shafir had the Zealot count, he could be able to just completely surround these tanks. But unfortunately, I don't think he has quite enough units. The tank volley is simply too powerful. These Zealots do actually get on top of these units, but they're all going to go down. 2 Arbiters are not nearly going to be enough to defend this push. And I think we're going to see GG at any second now. No Goliath range, though. No Goliath range. The Observer goes down. The Natural goes down. What can Shafir do at this point? Well, he can pick off this tank from the high ground. That's annoying, but it's not going to save the game. That's good water. 3 tanks now also sieging the 4th base of the Protoss player, and that is it. Shafir calls it GG. Well played to Jinjin. And we're going to go on to game number 2. All right, Escalade. I see you trying to trigger me in the chat. Just because Shafir's 1 base DT proxy got scouted doesn't make P-Clips a T map. It's not Tasagi. It is, in fact, quite Pusagi, in my Terran opinion. All right. Oops. Screen went off a little bit. Hold on, let me just update the scores for a second. It is 1-0 for Jinjin. Map 2 is going to be Dominator. Interesting. I think the order is a little bit funny. Either the order is funny or these players have just completely didn't play it in the right order. What the hell is lowball propaganda? What is lowball propaganda? What does that mean? Can you explain to me what lowball propaganda is? Communism? P-Clips? Yeah, I'm sure you love P-Clips' P-Clips refrigerator. Watch them all the time. No problem. Welcome, Shafiru. It has been so far a blast casting your games. We are currently game number 2. I do believe this is game number 2. It is game number 2 according to the CPL replay pack. So I hope this is in the right order. Jinjin opening quite standard. Going for the forward Depot Barracks Refinery SimCity. I do believe this is a Zealot tight wall and this is a Zealot tight wall, but Marines can in fact move through both. So that's quite a good SimCity choice from Jinjin. Although personally, I don't know if I would like this sort of SimCity on Dominator specifically, because I feel like Dominator doesn't have a lot of space between the command center and the ramp. I sort of like having all my factories like here and like here. And this sort of blocks the path, but I know some Terrans like to have their factories here. I don't know. Dominator's a little bit of a weird map. I'm not personally a huge fan of Dominator. I don't, there's a lot of things I don't like about this map. I don't like the uphill into the natural. I don't like how the bases are weirdly shaped. Like, my factory placement is always like super whack on these maps. Once again, we got Shafir chasing the SCV around in the main base, going for a Cybercore, researching Singularity Charge, which is also known as Dragoon Range. So this is all very, 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 very standard. This probe now might be trying to sneak. Oh my god. Here we go again. Here we go again. Shafir, once again, his probe is up to no good. But Jinjin is doing a good job of keeping his SCV alive in his base. It is going to die to this Dragoon, but if he was like a super smart player, he might realize that the third pylon is missing. He might realize the third pylon is missing. Not a lot of players can actually notice this. I feel like counting pylons is a skill you start to learn when you get like pretty good at the game. Just like how sometimes you can like count probes and you're just like, ooh, that's not a lot. Or you count drones, I guess, more accurately. Well, this is a little hard to remember to do, especially since like lacking one pylon isn't something that really stands out to most players, and a lot of players could just assume that they missed it. Like it's in some random corner of the base or something. So Jinjin might be tipped off. He might not. We don't really know. I feel like at this level, you could be anything, right? Very interesting that he made 2 Marines and then chose to lift his barracks and plant it down up here before making the 3rd Marine. Very interesting choice from Jinjin. The tank moves forward and starts to take pot shots at the Dragoon. The other thing that maybe should tip him off is the fact that Shafir just doesn't have that many units right now. And the Dragoon, once again, blocking the entrance into the main. This should be, you know, once again, ringing alarm bells. The eBay is actually already done. So Jinjin is super ready for DTs. And I feel like DTs is exactly what we're going to see. No, we're going to see Robotics Support Bay. Very interesting that he chose to put the Reverb Bay in the main instead of here. I wonder what. Well, we actually have Shafir in the chat. Shafir, why'd you put half of your tech in your main and half at the proxy? Why do you have a gateway here? Oh, so you can just like transit like zealots, elevator zealots down. Oh my god, no, he's just gonna elevator like a whole bunch of units down, and I think he's in a corner of the base that Jinjin can't actually see. Oh my god, you Protosses are so disgusting. Oh my god, what is this? Oh my, all right. Well, I feel like this is about to do infinity damage. Look at this, Jinjin. I can already see his face. He's just like, oh my god, what the hell am I playing against? Unfortunately, he is not at all ready for these. These turrets are ready for DTs, but unfortunately, they don't do quite as well against a Reaver. Already, we see so many SCVs going down. These 2 siege tanks siege up, but there are no turrets here to defend the Reaver, and he calls it GG. It is now 1-1, and I don't have a 3rd replay, guys. I don't have a 3rd replay. Okay. I don't have a 3rd replay. I actually thought it was gonna be 2-0, so it's quite surprising. Guys, look. All right, look. Okay, CPL 11. I have Jinjin versus Shafir game 1, Jinjin versus Shafir game 2, Jinjin versus Shafir game 3. This scenario is unreadable because it's invalid or corrupted. What's going on? You must have fat fingered and forgot to upload. Can you send me the last replay? Is that possible? Oh, can't grab them? All right, data's gonna come with the explanation. If you upload 2 replays, the system assumes it's a 2-0 and adds a fake 3rd replay to prevent spoilers. Yep, that checks out. That's a good system, but unfortunately we don't have a 3rd replay. So this would explain why we started on Eclipse and ended on Dominator. Because Eclipse is game 2 and Dominator is game 3. So we're in fact missing game number 1. That's what happened. I think Shafir might have forgotten to upload game number 1. It's a little bit unfortunate. We can cast it at the end, go next series. We're missing game 3. We played Dominator first, Eclipse second. Oh, interesting. All right, well, I'll give you some time to give us that game. We can go into another series first. And if you can give us the game, that would be great. If you cannot, then unfortunately, I guess we're just casting 2 of your games. And we'll never know who won in Jinjin versus Shafir. We'll just never know, I suppose. All right, let's go into the next one, which is going to be Supperman versus ArtOfTurtle. Hold on. I need to update the scoreboard. So, ArtOfTurtle is playing Terran. Supperman is playing Protoss, I think. Check to confirm? Yes. All right. Let's start. Let's do it. All right. Spawning on the top left-hand side of Deja Vu, which is the map that we are currently on that I didn't just now switch to. We have Flashcoin Whales, ArtOfTurtle, one of the only Terran coaches on our team. I think ArtOfTurtle might be one of like 2 Terran coaches. We're like the opposite of that one team that has Gypsy and like 10 other Terrans that are like T0. Anywho, spawning on the bottom right, Supperman playing as Protoss for team Shift Clique. Shift Clique? Shift Clique. Yeah, we coach each other. You're so right. He's so real. I don't know, man. I think I give pretty good advice, like don't BBS. I think that's pretty good advice. I don't know about you. I thought that was good advice. If you BBS, you will lose. Actually, no. If you BBS, you'll probably win a lot. But that doesn't make it a good build. There's some guy in the chat. Some guy straight from Artosis's chat. Well, actually, if the build wins, then it's a good build. Oh, it had Gypsy? Oh yeah! Didn't he leave like right away? Or like pretty soon after? Apparently that's a thing that he does like every time. What's up, Zero? Apparently that's just a thing that Gypsy does every time. Enough that it's become a meme in like in the Starcraft circles, CPL circles. All right, so ArtOfTurtle going for some pretty standard stuff. This is going to be a factory expand. Supperman going for his Cyber Core and second Pylon, so this is also very, very standard. Of course, if Supperman did Nexus first, he would go unpunished because he is, in fact, cross-spawn, but because he is honorable, he will just play standard, like the good Protoss that he is. Where is this Marine going? I don't see this very often, where you just like move forward with like the first Marine. This is actually, in fact, quite rare. This is a very interesting way of scouting, actually. I don't think I've ever seen this before, scouting with your Marine instead of your SCV. So this SCV scouted to the right, found nothing, and then he sent a Marine down? I guess he's looking for... What? But what if Supperman sends a Zealot? All right. Terrans in the chat, if you're like really good, can you explain why? Can you explain what if they send a Zealot? What if Protoss sends a Zealot? It was fine until he blew up on Ray and kind of wish I had gotten more replay reviews from him. Oh, did some drama go down? Is there some spicy CPL drama that happened? Refrigerator, you gotta DM me later. I want to know the deets. I need to know. I need to be in the know. 2 Dragoons out on the map for Supperman. Or they're not out on the map. They're just here to defend the initial Vulture. Both players playing pretty defensive, and now ArtOfTurtle sending his SCV out onto the field to go scout cross spawn. This is in fact one of the latest scouts in the entire universe, and he's gonna get picked off pretty quickly. No, he's gonna survive and go into the main. He's gonna get a full scout off and see the Robo. Oh, Robo before second gate. I think that is quite the tell. I feel like if I see Robo before second gateway, I'm like, ooh, Reaver. Yeah, it feels like a gamble to me to just like scout with your Marines instead of like the SCV. Robo before is Robo before second gateway standard? Is it? I thought second gateway first was standard. You get more Dragoons. All right, all the T1 Protosses are telling me it's standard, so it's probably standard. And it looks like he is getting Observer. Need the Robo for Obs to expo before 6:30. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because Terran will usually have mines laying around to block the Protoss expansion, so it does make sense that you would want to get Observers out early. Behind this, we have our second factory and eBay going down for the Terran player. I expect to see turrets up soon, as well as the armory and the refinery both go down. So this is all very, very standard for from ArtOfTurtle. Unfortunately, he is a little bit supply blocked now, but the depot should be finishing soon and taking care of that. We are laying mines up onto this high ground just to be extra annoying, but it's also a bit of an early warning system against any kind of Protoss move out. The first observer out on the field, going to try and get a sneaky little scout on the Terran base. And I think we're going to start adding factories pretty soon. We do have the money. Third factory going down, as well as a missile turret. This one is mostly to defend really aggressive drops or DTs. But as we can see from Supperman's base set up here, it's not going to be fast DTs. Only now is he getting his Citadel, which will of course be used to make Zealot legs, and the Templar Archives. Not quite yet, but I do think that the starport is an indicator that he's going Arbiter. There we go. There's the Templar Archives. And I expect Arbiter Tribunal to be going down quite soon afterwards. So this is going to be 2 base Arbiter. Mines being cleared out from the middle of the map. Meanwhile, 4th Factory going down for ArtOfTurtle as well as his Academy. We're going to get our scans up soon, which is very, very important as Terran because we need to know what kind of game the Protoss is trying to play. Of course, if you scan the main and you see carriers, that requires a vastly different response from if you scan the main and you see Arbiter, right? And that's still different from if you scan the main and you see like 20 gateways versus like 4. Those all require different responses, so you're gonna want to get your scanners up in fairly short order. Starport going down as well as the 5th Factory, so this is all very standard 5 factory gameplay from ArtOfTurtle. He is living up to his name, just going to sit back and make units. 3rd base going down with a nice looking wall from Supperman. And the army is starting to move out onto the field and start to clear out any mines it can find. I think basically all the mines have been cleared out at this point. And both players just playing a fairly passive game. Not a whole lot happening. Terran Commander sent blah 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 blah. Terran Command Center going down for ArtOfTurtle. This is going to be 5 fact into expand. It is of course like really hard to push out cross spawn on Deja Vu. So one thing that I'm a little bit worried for ArtOfTurtle is this map has this ramp here, which Protoss can pretty easily camp. So it's actually fairly important for Terran to establish control of this area in the mid game. But if Protoss builds like a ton of units, how do you do that actually? That's something I personally never figured out. So I feel like I kind of want ArtOfTurtle to put on a bit of a masterclass for me and show just what you're supposed to do in these situations. Because it is cross spawn, you do scan and see that your opponent is going for fast Arbiter, which means you can't really do a push against them and expect that to go well. But this is interesting. He's starting to set up here in this little corner. He's sort of getting a toehold on the high ground, and he's starting to set up with turrets and tanks and mines here. This is very interesting because normally I just set up where my rally point is, which is here. But I guess in this situation, you don't actually need units here, right? Because you have the turret, or you have the tank on the high ground, you have the turret on the high ground, you have the bunker here, and this choke point is a crazy small choke. So this area is actually quite well defended. So I do like ArtOfTurtle's decision of making a sort of second separate position here, because at the same time, this actually also defends this choke, right? Because any Protoss unit that tries to go into attack the natural has to come through here, and that's also defended by this. So this is I think this is a really good position from ArtOfTurtle. I think I really need to start doing that. Maybe like rally all my units here instead of here when I play. And now this position is actually being secured from the high ground here as well. So we're laying mines and we're building turrets over here as well. And we have siege tanks down here on the low ground. So this is actually a very smart defense from ArtOfTurtle. This position, along with this position, sort of defends the entire like entrance to these 3 bases. That's very interesting, and I like it a lot. The one thing that I'm a little bit unsure about is it does seem like it's very collapsible, right? Like if Protoss has an army here, 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 and here, you can sort of engage this with a lot of surface area. And I think that in a lot of circumstances that would be very scary, but because the map is donut shaped, all this area is high ground. So if Protoss tries to attack from under here, that might actually be like disastrous for Protoss. But already we see Supperman going to try and poke in and see if there's any weakness over here. I do think this area is a little bit of a weak point for Terran, but he is going to retreat and instead rely on the recall from the Arbiter. Recall, he just barely got enough energy like right now. All right. The recall goes off. Unfortunately, ArtOfTurtle did not make the mines that we saw Jinjin make in the last series. And I just realized the score is not 1-1, it's actually in fact 1-0 because we didn't actually finish the last series. But let's ignore that for now and focus on the recall, which is going to be cleaned up, but does in fact do quite a fair bit of damage. I didn't see exactly how many SCVs got killed, but the number right now is very heavily in favor of Protoss, 64 to 43. But Terran very crucially does save the command center. I think if he loses the command center, that's almost like GG at that point, right? But Terran survives, takes some economic damage, but this is mostly pretty good for ArtOfTurtle, I have to say. Excuse me. This is also a nice move from ArtOfTurtle, building supply depots right here. So I don't think I ever truly realized this, but the donut around here is actually buildable terrain. You can build structures here. So that's even more like reason to set up defenses on this kind of high ground here. Supperman trying to push up from down here. Well, not really pushing up. It's more like he's poking and scouting, just testing the Terran to see how strong they are. And behind this, he's trying to take this base. Oh my god, are these vultures once again gonna kill the pylon? If I had a nickel for every time vultures killed pylons, I would only have 1 nickel, but it was almost 2. Hey, Mick. So, we've been focusing a lot on ArtOfTurtle, mostly because I'm a Terran player, so I have bias, and I like to see how other Terrans deal with certain situations. But if we look over at Supperman, he is arguably in an even better position than ArtOfTurtle. He has 2 starports pumping out arbiters. He has a healthy gateway count and is in fact going up to 5 base. I think 5 base. A 5 base Protoss versus a 3 base Terran is slightly Protoss favored versus 4 base, which is slightly Terran favored. And now he's going to try to attack into the left-hand side of the Terran army. He's going to actually take over the high ground because most of the tanks are out of position in the low ground area. And now he's going to try to run into here as well. He stasis 4 tanks, which is kind of huge, but the stasis are in a forward location, meaning they're going to serve as a little bit of a wall for the Terran. But unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for the Terran to successfully defend this. Only 3 tanks out on the low ground and 4 vultures not doing anything currently. They are all going to go down, and I think this base is actually going to die this time. Unfortunately, the forward position from ArtOfTurtle not quite defended as well as it could have been. And now he's going to pay the price. And the price for that failure is unfortunately going to be the 3rd base going down. This is oh my god, a desperate repair comes down from the SCVs. Oh my god. But he just taps out instead. I thought, okay, I think if you save that base, the game may be still playable, but it's hard. It might be too hard. All right, let's go into game number 2. Well played to Supperman, showing us some insane Protoss macro gameplay. Game number 2 of Supperman versus ArtOfTurtle. This time we are on Eclipse. Once again, it is back to this map, which I love to hate so much. Spawning on the top right-hand side, our Terran hero down 0-1, ArtOfTurtle, playing for Flashcoin Whales. And spawning on the bottom left, playing for Shift Clique, Supperman. You think Supperman's a Warcraft 3 player? That's sick. So Warcraft 3 is a really fun game, but I've never really played multiplayer Warcraft 3. When I was a kid, I used to play a lot of Warcraft 3. I played humans, and I like going Archmage. No, sorry, is it Archmage? It's the mage that's on a horse. I really like that hero because you got to summon water elementals, and you just like, I remember you could just like go to camps with only like the Archmage and the water elemental. You just like, you can like kill some of them. I like doing that. I played that when I was in like middle high school-ish. Should join GNL next season. Kind of like CPL, only downside some of the people running it are dumb. Assuming the people running CPL aren't dumb. Looking at you, Escalade. Eclipse is Terran favored. In brackets, you. Oh, you're actually running the Warcraft 3 league? That's pretty sick. Oh my god, this probe being super annoying. I hate it when they harass with their initial probe. Like, it actually just like messes up my build order so much because I'm afraid of like losing an SCV. Oh my god, is this probe trying to... What is this probe doing? Oh my god, it was trying to miner pylon. Oh my god, this is so annoying. Protoss! Protoss! For those of you who don't know, if you put a pylon down here... Oh my god, wait, how did he get the SCV out of there? So, if you put a pylon down, it traps an SCV in here, meaning like you're down one worker. And now every SCV that wants to mine this mineral field has to go all the way around. This is so annoying for Terran to deal with, and is almost always worth the pylon. And oh my god, he puts another one down. He actually traps like... Oh, okay, so he only traps one SCV. So this is already super annoying for Protoss, or sorry, for Terran. Like, look at the amount of SCVs that are like going behind and circling around. Behind this, he's going for a 3 zealot opener, so he's gonna really rack up the pressure this game, and I think it makes a lot of sense to do. If you get 2 manor pylons down, like, the Terran is like economically so behind. And also mentally destroyed. Like, if I was ArtOfTurtle, I would already be thinking about throwing my computer outside my outside of my window, like all the way down, like all like 30 floors of the condo that I live in. Like, I don't care if it kills someone down there. I'm just throwing my computer out. These 2 zealots. Oh my god, ArtOfTurtle actually built so many Marines. Unfortunately for Supperman, the 2 pylons getting killed actually supply blocks him. I feel like this is actually something that happens quite often with Protoss players when they manor pylon, is they forget that like 16 of their supply is in like their cheese, or not cheese, but it's in their like opponent's mineral line, I guess. So when they lose them, they're like, oh, wait a second, I actually didn't build enough pylons. Dude, ArtOfTurtle built so many Marines. A lot of times, if you're in sort of this situation where your opponent is putting on like a ton of pressure and you just like find yourself like pumping a ridiculous amount of Marines, you can just go into FD and turn your like suboptimal opening into an FD push. And then all of a sudden you look really smart. But these Marines are doing a actually really good job of kiting those zealots back. All 3 zealots go down for, I think, only 2 Marines died in that engagement, and the Dragoon is also forced back. So this is already actually looking very good for ArtOfTurtle. I think he defended that like really well. in an ideal world, you would not get Manor Pylon at all. So if you see the Protoss kind of like shifting around your mineral line with a probe, what you do is you take one SEV, you stop position them like here, and then the Manor Pylon can't go down. But obviously that is actually quite hard to pull off, especially when you're just like in the early, you're just trying to nail your build order and try to make sure that you're getting your depots in time and all that stuff. Maybe you're also boosting your minerals as well. So that's often like, yeah, the response is you have to recognize that they're trying to Manor Pylon you and try to block it. But this is actually quite a strong push coming out of ArtOfTurtle. There are only 4 Dragoons now on the side of Supperman. But we do have potentially a Reaver on the way. He's going to go for the Observer first, which is potentially a mistake because look at the amount of units that Terran has right now. This is so many Marines, and I think the Protoss is going to be forced to retreat onto the high ground. Oh my god, 2 of the Dragoons get stuck with their terrible pathfinding. One of them actually pays for it with his life, and now he's forced to drill the probes down. This could potentially actually be devastating for Protoss if he loses too many probes here. The Vulture now comes and joins the battle. Only 1 mine in its possession, but the Terran has successfully pushed up into the high ground. This actually could be devastating for the Protoss. The Reaver needed to have come out yesterday. 1 mine goes down, and it's going to be triggered instantly by the first Dragoon that pops out here. But once the Reaver comes out, that might actually be the end of this push. The Reaver comes out. It doesn't quite have Scarabs ready yet. One of them does kill the Vulture, but 2 Vultures are in the base, and the tank remains alive as well. So many mines are going down. This is already like devastating damage for Terran. Protoss is going to clean this up with good enough Reaver Micro. Oops, that's the wrong panel. He's going to clean this up with good Reaver Micro. Oh, but there is still another mine here, actually. So, this is a disaster. This is a disaster for Supperman. But maybe these 2 Reavers can turn the tide of the game. Currently, we are on 13 workers to 26, but no, the Vultures continue to be rallied across the map, forcing the Reaver to stay back and defend. This could be buying precious minutes for ArtOfTurtle, who is now frantically getting turrets up, and oh my god, this is actually so many turrets. This is so many turrets, and he's building tanks behind this. I don't know if he has siege mode though, but I'm not sure if he even needs siege mode at this point. Already 1 tank is out. A 2nd tank on the way and is about to finish before the Reavers get here, and these turrets are going to force the shuttle to either back off immediately or hard commit into this. And it looks like that's exactly what Supperman is doing. He's going to hard commit, and the shuttle is going to go down. No Reaver Micro for him this time. And this attack was also a disaster. Behind this, though, Protoss is starting to get their Nexus. Terran not getting their base quite yet. Not before 2 factories have already started to come online. So this could, in fact, be a 2-factory push from ArtOfTurtle. If he is going to 2-factory push this, I think that might just kill the Protoss. Sorry, I think Supperman might actually die to a 2-factory push. Armory going down. I think this is to get Goliaths for the Reaver. No command center anywhere in sight, but he does have enough money now. Not going to spend it on the command center, so I think this is going to be 2-factory all in. But Supperman does see it. He sees it with the Observer. He sees no command center, and he sees a bit of a scary mech army. ArtOfTurtle is miles ahead in supply right now, by the way. And a lot of, although like a good portion of it is in SCVs, you can't forget a good portion of it is also in army. Like, Supperman has less Dragoons than ArtOfTurtle has siege tanks. Well, actually, it's the same number now, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, you never want to be in this situation as Protoss. And now ArtOfTurtle is going to push out across the map. There is no shuttle to micro this Reaver with. But I think the shuttle might pop out just in time for this attack. That's possible. If these Dragoons can delay for long enough, then the Reaver might come out on time. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough to really stop this attack. Reavers can like hold huge pushes almost like by themselves. Like they just hard carry defense for Protoss, but you have to be able to micro them backwards. And if you're already holed up in your natural, like Terran can just set up here and you actually can't do much as the Reaver player. Like, not really. But Protoss is going to try to engage into this. He takes, or he drops the Reaver kind of far backwards. Oh, that is a lot of Dragoons going down, and it is over for Supperman. He calls GG, and we are now tied 1-1. Oops, I forgot to change the screen. There we go. We're tied 1-1. On to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. On to game number 3. It is going to be, of course, on Dominator. Let's get into it. Spawning on the right-hand side of this 3-player map. The Protoss player playing for Urk and Shift Clique. It is Supperman. And spawning on the bottom hand side, of course, we have left hands, right hands, and bottom hands. It is ArtOfTurtle playing for Flashcoin Whales. What is Dan saying? Darn, Manor Pylon should have won the game. This world is unfair. Oh my god. Privileged Protoss take. Let me tell you. That is a privileged Protoss take. I will not stand for this as the Terran player here. Yeah, I can tell you're a disgusting Protoss player. I can tell. Yeah, mask off, brother. So that was a pretty good FD push from ArtOfTurtle. I think it makes a lot of sense to do that in that situation because you're already building Marines anyway. Like, you're not really going to... Like, the reason why a lot of people don't do FD pushes is because it delays your expo. Excuse me. It delays your expo. You're building a lot of units that you're trying to get damage done with. But in that situation, you already made those units. So you might as well, like, do some aggression with it, right? I think that's a good move. I like it a lot. Meanwhile, we have ArtOfTurtle going for forward SimCity as well. This is a bit of a different SimCity from Jinjin. We saw Jinjin place the depot here and the barracks there, which makes for a more cohesive wall, I think. But in my opinion, it kind of blocks where you want to put the factory. So personally, I don't like putting it there. But as we all know, Jinjin is a million times better than me. So he probably has his own reasons for why he wants to set up his SimCity that way on Dominator. But I also think Dominator is a weird map. I don't like Dominator. Yeah, ArtOfTurtle living up to his name for sure. Yeah, that was a squeaky clean defense, honestly, of the 3 zealots trying to pressure him. Of course, you could defend the Manor Pylons better by not letting yourself get Manor Pylon, but honestly, I think that is like the hardest thing to do in the universe. Like, because how are you supposed to tell that the Protoss actually wants to do it? Like, maybe they're just like, they just have their probe there because that's where they want to put their probe. Like, I don't know. Do you just assume every single time that the Protoss might Manor Pylon you? Like, I don't know, man. I don't think so. Supperman going for a pretty standard opener this time around, getting his Dragoon range this time, skipping the first Zealot. Nope, just kidding. I thought that was a probe, but it's actually a Zealot. But this is still, like, not really cranking up the pressure like he did last game. Last game, he went for 3 Zealots, which is I think, pretty rarely seen. Wait, he made 2 zealots? Guys, am I a terrible caster? Is that what this is? Do I just like miss everything? So this is pretty interesting. ArtOfTurtle is actually in fact fighting on the high ground, which I understand the mentality behind that, but it's always harder to fight on the high ground than it is to fight like along your Sim City. But ultimately, he does a very good job of fending off the first 2 zealots while not losing too many Marines himself. But this Marine is hurt, and this Marine as well. This first Dragoon is actually going to do a lot of damage, and these 3 SCVs being pulled off the mineral line, or sorry, 2 SCVs, one building the bunker kind of early. That is already like some pretty significant economic damage, and the first Vulture might actually die to the Dragoon, but it just barely squeezes by and runs away. We got a 5 HP Vulture running around. Nope, it's gonna die. Nope, just kidding. It's not gonna die. Yeah, get in the bunker. Get off your bike, bro. Oh my god, that Dragoon like hesitated. He saw the Vulture come back and he's like, should I? Oh no, too late. I like how, okay, I don't, but I also kind of do like how in StarCraft 1, units sometimes like ponder life before they actually like fire. In StarCraft 2, you tell a unit to hit something and they hit it immediately. In StarCraft 1, they're like, should I? Yeah, I probably should, and then they fire. Like, I know you guys have all seen that before when a Dragoon just like, okay, like, just like pauses for a couple seconds, like thinks about it, maybe tries to take aim, like does its breathing motion, like before actually firing. Sometimes the Marines will just like aim for a while and then like not fire. Dude, there was this one game I played in UPL against a way better Zerg player called Just Dale, and he went for Crazy Zerg, and I had like 3 control groups of Marines out in the middle of the map, but I think I had them on hold position or something, because when the Ultras engaged them, they didn't attack. They just stood there. They just didn't do anything. They just stood there. And they watched the Ultras just start chewing them apart. And then like once half the Marines were like gone, they're like, oh shoot, we got to attack. And then they started firing, and of course I lost that fight, and it was brutal. I still remember that game. I will never forget that game. Do Protoss have nostrils? Actually, I don't know if Protoss have nostrils. But like, what are Dragoons doing? Like, they kind of look like they're breathing. They're just like going up and down. Who knows, man? But ArtOfTurtle, once again, going for a 2-factory push, and I don't know if Supperman is really ready for this. He only has 2 gateways and an observatory. That's not like enough production to really defend this. Unfortunately for ArtOfTurtle, he is firing from the low ground, but once he gets up to his high ground position, I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for the Protoss to defend. I think what he actually needs at this point in the game is shuttle. I think the only real way to defend this is hope that the Terran laid too many mines close to his tanks, but he is actually going to go forward. He's going to try to snipe this tank, but he doesn't quite get the angle on it. Good blocking from ArtOfTurtle. And meanwhile, Supperman's going to pull the probes as well. These probes are all dying at this point, and there are not quite enough Dragoons to really put down the damage to kill this army. One of the tanks go down, but another one comes up to replace it, and we have more Vultures reinforcing on the way. Both tanks have sieged up and are now shelling the observatory, which is not the building that you need right now, but still it is annoying to see as the Protoss player. But once the shuttle comes out, I think that is when the real defense begins. Where's the shuttle? Where's the shuttle? I swear there was a shuttle. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what Protoss needs to do is the next couple of Zealots, he needs to drop them right on top of the tanks and attack with the Dragoons at the same time. I think that's the only way Protoss can really defend this. This is a very, very, very scary attack from ArtOfTurtle, and he's already starting to lay down mines. This shuttle only drops one Dragoon off, but the tanks unsiege, and now they start firing on the Dragoon as well. The probes get pulled a second time, and they're unfortunately not going to get anything done except for, you know, sacrificing themselves, I guess. They're the only thing they're going to do in that case is die. A zealot drop comes on the way, and the mines get dragged. Oh my god, I feel like Supperman might be hanging on from the skin of his teeth. There are still 2 tanks out on the field, though. If he can get another mine drag. Oh no! Oh my god. I think Supperman held. I think he held. That is craziness. Supperman barely holds on with 2 insane mine drags. I think if ArtOfTurtle laid 0 mines in that last fight, he might have actually like broken Supperman, or at least like killed this Nexus or something. I think like those mines were actually devastating. I think they killed 2, maybe 3 tanks. Wow. But the game's not over yet. ArtOfTurtle now has his own command center finished, and I think we might just go into a normal macro game from here. He's still rallying units across the map. This might be a little bit of a mistake, because once the rush is over, you can't really get a whole lot done as Terran with small amounts of units. Terran is really a, you know, mass up like a critical number, and then attack and hit like a really strong timing kind of race, right? Small numbers of units just tend to get picked off, especially if they're tanks. Vultures, you can sort of speed around and run away. Tanks will just die. So ArtOfTurtle making the correct decision and moving the tank back. 1 vulture sneaks through, and he does get a decent scout of the number of workers that Protoss has. So he should recognize that the game is in a fairly even state at this point. Well, I would say the Protoss is a little bit ahead. He does have more probes, and the 3rd base is now finished, but it's not like insurmountable. It's actually not that bad for Terran, I think. It's actually not that bad. And this is sort of why I don't really like factory positioning on this map, because we see, look, 1, 2, 3, like this factory is so far away from the rest of your, like how do you fit, you can't really fit this all in one screen to macro. So I don't know, but also like where do you put your garbage? Like Dominator is such a weird map, man. I personally don't particularly like playing on Dominator. Yeah, thanks Mousy for the follow. If you don't know, guys, Mousy is a Starcraft 2 amateur caster. So if you like Starcraft 2 content, you can go ahead and follow him. He casts quite a good number of Starcraft 2 games. Most of it is amateur. He's just kind of an amateur caster like I am. But yeah. Now we see Supperman going for kind of a sneaky 3rd base. Or sorry, 4th base. Like, this is really far forward. I don't think this is a very good base to take. I know these players are better than me, but I don't think this is a good base to take because it is so close to the Terran base. Like, okay, I don't know if this is real, but I'm like 40% sure that if you siege a tank here, it can hit a probe here. Can anyone confirm this? Can anyone confirm? Can you siege a tank here and kill a probe here? Can you do that? Regardless of whether or not you can actually do that, this base is so close to the Terran bases, like, it's like trivial for you to push out here, take this base, and then push down here and kill this base. Like, that is the easiest thing to do as Terran. But of course, because Protoss players are Protosses, this could just be part of the mind game. This could just be part of the mind game. because Protoss will think like, so Terran so I know, like, okay, listen. I'm the Protoss player. I know this is the worst base to take, which means that the Terran would never think that I would take a base here. So he would just scout every other base and not realize I'd taken this base. I feel like the Protoss brain would cook something up like that. That is something that Protoss is 100%. Protoss is in the chat. Can you confirm that's what you do? Because I'm pretty sure that is what all Protosses do. Oh my god, ArtOfTurtle moves out onto the map, but he gets caught in the middle of the map. His tanks are all unsieged. This could actually be devastating for ArtOfTurtle. These Zealots are already on top of the tanks. Only 2 siege tanks are actually engaging in this fight, and they both go down. Oh my god, now Supperman is flooding into the natural. His Zealots are doing so much damage, and there's nothing really that the Terran has to stop this. These unsieged tanks just aren't putting out the damage that they need to be putting out. There are no mines anywhere to be found, and ArtOfTurtle just GG's. Oh my god, I yapped for so long, and then I just almost missed like the critical fight in that game. Holy shit, ArtOfTurtle just pushed out, and sometimes you just push out and just get caught. That was crazy. All right. Zealot's gonna Wooloo the Terran. Yeah. Wow. All right. Good job to Supperman, though. Defeating ArtOfTurtle 2-1. And I think for now, let's just... Okay, so up next we have La Creme de la Crop, Vint versus Anderson, which is the original casting request of this series. So I'm pretty excited to get into that. But before that, we're just going to take a very, very, very quick 2-minute break so that I can go to the bathroom. BRB. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you guys ready for the final series that we are going to be casting today? It is none other It is none other than the ones who requested this game to be this series to be casted. It is going to be Vint versus Anderson. Protoss versus Terran. Flashcoin Whales versus Shift Clique. The final series of this week, for me at least. I think we should get straight into it. Thank you, Dan MD, for the compliment. Let's just go. I did not realize I was muted. Oh my god. I've been talking this entire time. Oh, I'm so dumb. I've been talking this entire time and didn't realize I was muted. All right. Let me start over. Spawning on the top left-hand side, it is none other than Standardson. What a name, Standardson. That is so funny. When I played Anderson in the preseason, he was C rank. Now he is A rank. All right, Gray Shades, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Anderson's A rank account is his cheese account. I know I'm exposing him super hard. That's his cheese account. I'm like 90% sure he just does BBS like every game on that account. I once tuned into Doc Holiday and he was recording for BSL and his mic was muted for like 3 games long. Oof. Hey, at least you guys informed me quickly. All right. Anyways, top left-hand side is Standardson. And I've wanted to say that Standardson is the funniest name I've seen in a while. That is such a stupid pun. Oh my God. Standardson. Are you kidding me? What a strange barracks depot placement. Did he think that his ramp was down here? That is so funny. I guess Deja Vu is a pretty big map, so it doesn't really matter where you put it. But I'm curious to know like why he put it here. And on the bottom left-hand side, we have Vint. Vint 55 playing for Flashcoin Whales, also known as the Zealot Man because he built a ton of zealots. And the other thing that Vint really likes to do, and you'll notice this every single time you watch Vint play, is he builds his SimCity like in a line. Every single game he must put all of his pylons in this line here. And I guarantee you're gonna see this again this game. Guaranteed. If I'm wrong about this, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be wrong about this. You guys can think up of a punishment. I don't know. I haven't had this streamer thing figured out. I'll spin the punishment wheel. All right, look at this block from Standardson. I don't know why he's blocking, though. He's obviously just going to play it standard. Like, his name is Standardson. You don't need to block. You could just, like, show him everything because you're just going to play standard, so it doesn't matter, right? All right, he's pushing out with four Marines and a Vulture. He's also getting his bunker pretty early on. This is something that I've seen a lot of Terrans do recently. This is a little bit of a recent development, but just getting the bunker before the command center is just a lot safer. The bunker finishes, and now this sort of early pressure from the Protoss should be mostly over. And Vint smartly decides to retreat backwards with his units. Meanwhile, command center has finished, but it was building on the high ground, which is an interesting choice. I don't think it was 100% necessary, but maybe he saw a lot of units or gateways earlier or something and got a little bit spooked. Terrans get spooked pretty easily, I think. And I don't think Anderson is any different. Oh my god, what is he doing with that Vulture? Or sorry, not the Vulture, the Zealot. Vint doing classic Vint things, running by the Dragoon, gonna get a scout off and just in general be extremely annoying with his first group of units. 3 Marines pop out of the bunker to try and chase this Dragoon. I think this Dragoon might meet his end soon. One more tank shot kills. Does in fact execute that Dragoon for spying on the Terran base. Executed for high treason. As all Protoss units should. Another Dragoon is coming out onto the field. Behind this, Anderson is getting another factory and an eBay. And 3 mines laid out in front. Just generally playing very conservative. I like it a lot. The long pylon wall is starting to form along with these gateways. And the observer is going to come out soon. So this is all looking very, very standard. And the probe is now getting the 6-minute 30 third base that all Protosses rave about. Third base at 6:30. Third base at 6:30. It's not going to be quite at 6:30. Game is hard, guys. Game is hard. Should be going down now. There we go. So not a whole lot of units out onto the field for Vint, but Standardson getting his tank, siege tank upgrade fairly early on. Gonna play pretty defensive. And I wonder if this is sort of in preparation for a 6-fact push. 6-fact push, one of the scariest things for low-level Protoss to deal with. I know Vint himself struggles a little bit with it, as do a lot of Protosses. It is a scary, scary, scary build that basically, unless you play 2 base arbor, you just have to be like on point with both your macro and your micro. When the CC is seen building, I wonder what is worth sacrificing a goon to see. Possible 1 fact into Stargate, is that worth it? I'm not sure. I feel like I don't really see 1 fact into Stargate like at all from Terran in this matchup. Whoa, what is Vint doing? 2 observers are gonna get sacked into here, and I don't even think he really saw anything from that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. I don't know how much he saw from that. It looked like the probe or the observer might have seen 2 factories. He actually sacrificed 2 observers to see 2 factories. Unfortunately, I don't think that's worth it. But yeah, I feel like 1 factory, 1 starport. I guess that vulture drop could be like super scary. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth sacrificing a goon to see. I don't know. But yeah, pivoting back to talking about this game, Anderson is in fact going for the classic bread and butter 6 factory push. The academy is on the way. I feel like the academy would probably be better if it came a little earlier so that you have some scans to bank up. But I'm not super familiar with how early you're supposed to get the academy when you're doing 6 fact. It's possible that if your opponent goes arbiter, it actually doesn't matter when you get your academy because you're just not going to have scans in general. Like, you're just going to run out of scans eventually, so you just can't really push. But in this situation, I guess if you can have 2 scans by the time you push out, you can scan like here and then like here to see if where the Protoss army is. I think you basically just scan like around the middle area to see if you have the potential to get surrounded. But now Anderson has the unenviable task of trying to push up this hill, which is so hard. It is so hard to push up this hill. Holy shit. And Vint knows it too. He's camping all of his units here. 8 gateways are out for Vint. I think he has a sneaking suspicion that he is about to be 6-facted. Arbiter Tribunal is on the way, so once the Arbiter pops, if the Arbiter pops out early enough, then this 6-factory push can be easily stopped. In fact, Anderson might not even commit to the 6-factory push because he is getting a command center. He's trying to micro his vultures a little bit, but I think the tanks are a little bit too far behind for this to really work. Anderson does in fact figure this out and decides to move unsiege his tanks and move them forward. Is he going to move them forward? Is he going to move them forward? Are they going to go forward? Yes, they are. All right, good analysis. This is your classic RiceHat analysis. Tanks are now moving forward and will take up position up onto this high ground. Vint kind of giving this high ground away without much of a fight. He is going to lose like a couple units here and there, unfortunately, basically for free. But for the most part, he pretty much gave up this high ground voluntarily. It's possible that he also has a stinking suspicion that this 6-fact push isn't really coming. Like, I feel like you should already be like on Vint's side of the map by now if you were really committing to this. And it's possible that Vint recognizes that because he's already getting his 4th base, getting set up for his 5th base. Vint is really just completely ready to go into the late game. And he probably, part of it is that he feels safe because the Arbiter is coming out soon. And look, what did I tell you guys? He does this every game. Every game he does this. Every single game. This is how he SimCities. This is just Vint. This is like his modus operandi? You know, okay. I don't know what it's called. Have you guys ever watched like serial killer documentaries or serial killer podcasts where they talk about how serial killers always kill in like the same way? Like they'll like write like a symbol on the wall or something and that's their thing. I don't remember what it's called, but this is Vint's serial killer thing. Is that, am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to call Vint a serial killer? The way he like kills you with zealots. That's his like signature calling card. Yes, his calling card. That's yeah, his calling card. I think calling card is the right term. I think so. It's been a while since I've like listened to a serial killer podcast or something like that. But yeah, Vint's calling card is this. It's just this. Goons cannot pop out from the inside gates. Like this gate, this gate, this gate, this gate, you cannot build goons from them. There's no space for the goons though. Like they can't spawn anywhere. So you can't make goons from here. And I guess I think Vint has just played this SimCity for so long that he just like knows not to build goons from the inside ones. He probably only builds goons from the outside ones. Yeah, we don't need goons. He's called the Zealot Man for a reason, guys. He's called the Zealot Man for a reason. It's because he builds a lot of zealots. This is an interesting base for Anderson to take. Terrans normally take this one because, so if you guys remember the Art of Turtle game, he set up a pretty strong position like here. Unfortunately, in that game, most of his tanks were sieged up here, and they couldn't really support the tanks up here. So this position ended up getting rolled over. But the way Art of Turtle played it is that he set up a strong defensive position here to protect this base and these two bases at the same time. Anderson goes to take this base, and I feel like this base is much, much, much harder to defend because there are so many more angles that you need to defend it from. Or that you need to defend from, right? Because you have to set up tanks, like, probably here, I think, is the best place for them. But then you also need to set up tanks here to prevent Protoss from running around this direction. So I think this base, although it's in a way safer because it's further away from the Protoss, I think it's actually harder to defend. I think it could be harder to defend. But Anderson might also be trying to split the map already. Like, he could be saying, like, this game, I'm just not going to attack at all. I'm going to split the map and make you attack into me. Unfortunately, his split map idea might not work because Vint is already taking the top right corner. And you can't really split the map if that's the case. Meanwhile, huge recall actually happens in the main base. There are no mines anywhere to defend this. So unfortunately, Standardson is going to have to clean up the good old-fashioned way, which is just you unsiege your tanks, you bring your vultures, you bring everything back, and you try to get them up this ramp, which is like literally impossible, especially if there are 2 eggs here, and try to use that and the reinforcing or the units in production to clean this up, which is always an insane annoyance. I think his reaction is a little bit slow though, because he only sent the vultures in, and the vultures mostly died at this point. There are still 7 goons just wrecking havoc in this base. One of the factories do in fact go down. The SCVs have been pulled, but this should eventually be cleaned up. Like, 7 dragoons should not be able to just completely paralyze the Terran, but at the same time, Vint is counterattacking, or not really counterattacking, multi-prong attacking the 3rd location of Anderson. And here we can see that the distant nature of this 3rd is sort of playing to Vint's advantage. Protoss, of course, they have the mobile army in this matchup. They can maneuver and have map control and go wherever they feel like. Terran, a little more static in the way their army is positioned, so locations that are further away are just going to be harder to defend. And Anderson right now just doesn't quite have the unit count to defend everywhere at once. And this could potentially be sort of his downfall, the beginning of the end, if you will. And the fact that Protoss has 3 corners, first of all, throws a huge wrench into Anderson's split map scenario. But also, it's so hard to push into a main base that if Protoss has 3/4 of the map like this, if they have 3 mains, this is basically 3 bases that you can't push into and 3 bases that Protoss can reinforce from. So in this scenario, Terran is really, well, they're not behind, but it's just a really hard game for Terran at this point. Anderson moves forward with the vultures, picks off a couple zealots, but he needs to wait for the tanks to move forward as well. He really needs to get something done with this push, because if he just lets Vint sit back with 3 main bases, like, at some point there's basically nothing the Terran can do to really win. You can't really split the map. It becomes like an impossible task to push anywhere because you can reinforce from the other two corners. Oh my god. But Vint is sort of letting Anderson push into his natural for free. There's only 2 arbiters here. But unfortunately, the recall and the counter, the counter recall and the counter double prong attack into the third base is too much for Anderson to deal with. And he is forced to tap out. GG, game number 1 to Vint. All right. Let's go into game number 2. Yeah, Vint's Protoss versus Terran is really good. He's so hard to play against. I personally have like a 3 to 70 like record against him. I've played him like 50 times and won maybe like 4 games. He's definitely very tough. All right. Up 1-0. We have Vint spawning on the bottom left side of Eclipse. And on the top right, we have Anderson, Standardson, the BBS man, who probably won't be BBSing against Protoss. I've never really seen anyone do BBS against Protoss. Does it work? It probably works very well against Nexus first, but does it work against standard Protoss? Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. He's definitely not doing BBS this game, that's for sure, because this is definitely a normal amount of SCVs, and no SCVs are moving across the map. First probe out for Vint, probably going to go for a gas steal. And once again, Anderson builds his stuff very far forward. I played a proxy 9-9 versus BBS on Eclipse and I barely won. Okay. BBS versus Toss can't work. Requires some probe drilling to beat. Alright, that makes sense, yeah. Here it comes, here it comes. Vint is about to do the good move. Wait, did he miss? Nope, there he goes. There it is. He did the move. He did the move. All Protosses rejoice and every Terran starts to seethe. Oh, Protoss. Oh my god. Oh, it's just so unfair that Protoss can just take my gas, ruin my whole build. It's not fair. Time for rack CC. That's so risky, brother. That is so risky. What if Protoss is going for like Zealot Goon pressure? What if they what's it called? Center gated. That's so scary. I mean, we aren't really scouting as Terran. Maybe we just know what Vint does. Yeah, we have SCVs worshipping the assimilator. Yeah, on top of not having gas, we also have 5 SCVs suddenly need to worship the assimilator for 2 minutes. First Zealot is out on the field, but the third Marine should finish before it gets there. So I cannot imagine it doing like any damage. Meanwhile, Nexus is on the way for Protoss. I think we should feel very safe doing that because we got a pretty decent scout off from it. Oh, wait a second. So Anderson can actually build a factory behind this Sim City if you place it this far forward. And that makes the factory like a little safer. So that's interesting. Personally, I feel like the depot just being there would like annoy me enough that I still wouldn't want to do that. But there's definitely some logic behind this placement beyond just like I want to put wall here. Here we go. Yeah, this 11 HP zealot barely escapes death. So it is going to be 2 factory from Anderson. We're in for a fast game. And the Marines have already started to move out. We have 6 Marines out onto the field. That one low HP zealot going to immediately be executed. And the second zealot and the probe are going to be pushed away. Vint, seeing the 6 Marines out, I feel like that should maybe be alarm bells. This is either a D or an FD. For those of you who don't know, FD stands for fake double. So by some form of formal mathematical logic, it should follow that D stands for double. So therefore, according to this solid, rigid mathematical proof, Anderson is going for the D. This build is called the D. You heard it here first. So 3 tanks are being built. I feel like this... so there are a couple variations of 2 factory that you can go for. There's a 3 tank variant where you go for ion thrusters and mines, and you push out with the tanks, but the real damage comes from the vultures that lay spider mines behind it. I kind of like doing this build as well, but the build I go for is one where you take a base as well. So it's not all in like this one. This is an all-in build. The 3 tank push I normally like to go for is you go CC and then second factory, and your 3 tank push comes a little bit later, and it's a little less powerful. It doesn't quite have as many Marines, but it can still do a ton of damage. But this one is all in. This is all in, and this is scary. 6 Marines, 3 tanks, and speed vultures coming behind. It's gonna be up to Vint to. It's gonna be down to the micro. Like, can Vint really delay this push long enough? Because once the push gets to your natural, it's kind of over at that point. You need to kill him like here. You need to stop this push dead. But unfortunately, I don't think Vint really has enough units to defend this. Maybe playing a little bit too greedy in the early game, and now he's going to suffer the consequences of his actions. The probes being drilled, going for a flanking maneuver. He's going to get on top of the tanks, but I don't think this is going to be enough. The probes are going down one by one. The Dragoons trying to drain the mines up. Oh my god, 2 of them die, but unfortunately, these tanks are only damaged. They don't get killed, and there are so many vultures out on the field. I think Anderson might have done it. The 2 factory push will succeed this game, and we are going to go into game number 3. GG gets called, and we're going to go into the 3rd game. Game number 3. And maybe in game number 3 we will see BBS. It's possible. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the final game of the series is upon us. The final game of Vint versus Anderson. We are tied 1-1. Spawning on the top side of Dominator. I might have forgotten to name the last map as Eclipse. Oopsies. Spawning on the top side of Dominator. It is our gateway man. It is Vint. And on the right-hand side, UPL's best Terran cheeser. It is Shift Clique's Anderson. So this is a very early going SCV. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see if BBS works against Protoss firsthand. Second SCV coming up. Barracks number 2 is now underway. Those are the 2 Bs. Where is the S? S incoming? I actually don't know what the build order is, but I assume S should be coming soon. Maybe after this barracks finishes, this SCV builds the S. No, it's this one. So we got barracks, barracks, supply. For those of you who don't know, this is a Omega Giga Super All-In. If this doesn't work, the game is over. It doesn't matter how much damage you do, it's just over. Maybe if you killed every probe and the Protoss is left with 1 probe mining, then you can win. But no, this if you hold this, you win the game. On the other hand, if you die to this, you still die. So Vint comes in here, spots 7 SCVs, no barracks, no gas, and he's like, oh no. Oh shit. If you die to this, you die in real life. Starcraft art online. If you die to BBS, you will die in real life. The shock of losing to this cheese is gonna give you a heart attack, and you will just die. All right, so the push is incoming. 2 zealots are out for Vint. It might be down to the probe micro, or the zealot versus marine micro. Oh my god, one of the marines gets stuck like in front of an SCV. Oh my god, Anderson, there is no time to waste. I feel like every second the Protoss goes stronger. If Protoss can get Dragoons out, oh, it might be over. All right, Anderson pushes out. Bunker, 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 bunker. No bunker. He's just gonna go for the probes. Oh my god, these zealots. We can't get too close. We have to kite this as Terran. Oh my god, 3 zealots are so scary though. These SCVs are getting eviscerated. Their HP bar is dropping so quickly, and there's only 6 Marines to deal with 4 zealots. I feel like Vint has just completely held this. Oh my god, he just made it look easy. Yeah, I'm also surprised there's no bunker. Like, I've never played BBS, but I feel like if you don't have bunker, this rush doesn't work. It can't work. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh. This, I think it might be over, guys. Chat? Is this a bad build? Is BBS actually not a good build? Yeah, it's kind of really over right now. I'm really surprised we didn't go for bunker. Like, I don't play BBS, but I feel like you need a bunker, or else it, like, the Protoss could just like you'll have to kite against the zealots, and every second the zealot is being kited, your attack is being delayed. It's not doing damage. Now that Dragoons are out, like, what? Once we get Dragoon range, these Marines are now the ones that can get kited. But we are building up quite a number of them. 12 Marines are now out on the field. 12 being, of course, the number that you can select at one time, because we are playing a game from 1998. But unfortunately for Terran, he just does not quite have the firepower to deal with the Protoss defense. And now the Marines are on the run. These 2 Dragoons looking unstoppable. And I think we're gonna see Anderson GG pretty soon. This might be insurmountable. Oh, we do kill one of the Dragoons. So that is good, but not before so many Marines are dying. If any of you guys ever wondered why we don't see Bio played against Protoss, you are witnessing just how garbage Bio is right now. Like, Dragoons 4-shot Marines, and they outrange them. And it takes like 70 shots to kill a Dragoon. Yeah, once the Protoss is on top of your production, it's not really good for Terran. If you're playing Bio against Protoss, you kind of need critical mass. So the barracks do get lifted. I think Anderson is going to try to transition into a normal game out of this. Unfortunately, Vint realizes that Anderson probably doesn't have a single thing at home. And he's right. Anderson doesn't have anything at home, so these 4 Dragoons can come in here and kill everything. Down goes the depot. Down goes the SCV. Down goes the other SCV and the depot as well. So this is a decent drill attempt from Anderson. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to deal with these 4 Dragoons, because 4 Dragoons are the scariest thing in the entire universe for Terrans in the early game. The only thing scarier than 4 Dragoons is like 8 Dragoons. All right, GG. Vint takes this 2-1. Congratulations to Vint and to Flashcoin Whales for their victory. And that is going to be the final series that we are watching today. But I do still have one more treat for you guys, because Shafir has, in fact, messaged me on Discord with his final replay. So we are going to see, once and for all, the winner of Shafir versus... Who did Shafir play? Jinjin. Shafir versus Jinjin, final game. We're going to see it. So let me pull that up real quick. All right. The final game of the day. It is Shafir versus Jinjin. Game number 3. Potentially game number 1. Potentially game number 2. I don't know which game this is, but we are in fact tied 1-1. So, in order to find out who actually ended up winning in this series between these two amazing players, we are going to watch this game. Shafir spawning on the bottom left-hand side, playing for Team Flashcoin Whales. And Jinjin spawning on the top left. Did I say top left for Shafir? I feel like I always say top when I want to say bottom. Shafir on the bottom left, Jinjin on the top left. That is how it is. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what happened in the first 2 games. If I recall correctly, on Eclipse, Shafir did proxy DTs. On Dominator, Shafir did proxy Reaver and Elevator units into the base. I wonder if Shafir is going to go for more cheese this game, because I feel like I've just been watching Shafir cheese all day. Definitely think it's possible. I mean, some players just they just do the same shit every game. Or not the exact same thing, but like the same type of thing. Hey Hex, thanks for the follow. Right now we see Jinjin going for a pretty normal build order, getting his gas on time, getting his barracks beside his command center. This, of course, is a zealot type wall that you can walk Marines through, so good SimCity for defending the first Zealot. You guys can clearly tell this is Shafir playing and not Vint, because if this was Vint, he would have his pylon here and his gateways here, and his SimCity would go like this. But it's not Vint, it's Shafir, so his gateway's here. Cybercore, also in a pretty normal location. Okay, I don't think Vint's building placement is that abnormal. I feel like I see it a lot in fastest map. Like, if you've ever played fastest map or watched someone play fastest map and they're Protoss, they tend to do that kind of setup. And I think it's because it's like a super compact way to fit like 1 million gateways in like one place. Or what they'll do is they'll start their pylon wall like here, and it'll go all the way up, and they'll have like double layered gateways on each side. All right, so Jinjin going for an end scout. This is pretty standard. You always need to know if Protoss is going to try to do something silly like center gates. But that is, of course, not what Shafir is going for. First Dragoon is out. He's not going to go for any kind of Zealot pressure like Vint typically likes to do. And this SEV is going to get a full scout before perishing, because he's going to... Oh, I thought he was going to get stuck on the egg. Nope, he gets stuck on the corner. Or he doesn't get stuck, but the corner slows him down enough for the Dragoon to get off his final shot. Jinjin going for a command center before the bunker, so playing a little bit greedier this time around, but maybe after seeing that there's no Zealot, after seeing the Nexus and everything else, he decides that it is okay for him to delay the bunker and get the command center quicker. One Dragoon is moving towards him. 3 Marines should be enough to defend the first Dragoon if microed correctly. 2 Dragoons is a different story, but by that time, you theoretically should have your bunker down. If you don't have your bunker down, then I don't know what you're doing, bro. You're playing way too confident, I guess. 3 Marines and a Vulture, more than enough to push this Dragoon back. All right. Bunker is up, so these Marines will now find their new home in here. Command Center has just finished. Meanwhile, the Protoss Nexus also finished, I think, at around the same time. We're only seeing him Maynard his probes over about now. You guys like that word? Maynard? Apparently that's the technical term for transferring probes over. But now Jinjin has spider mines finished, and we're going to see him lay mines all over the map, at all kinds of important locations, like in front of his base. Oh, actually, they're behind this Dragoon. So what he might do is push the Goon back with the tank, and then the Goon gets... Nope, he gets triggered by this mine. I thought the Goon escaped death, but unfortunately, it died anyway. So these 2 Vultures should be able to spot a lot of important things. He sees the pylon warping in here, so we know Protoss is trying to set up. He catches the probe here, so a cheeky little probe kill, or not. Vulture just like, I'll pretend I didn't see that. 3rd Vulture is now out. A lot of players like to go for 3 Vultures with mines. That's actually fairly standard. You lay mines everywhere, and you just like have really good knowledge of, you know, where the Protoss is on the map, when they take their base, all that kind of good stuff. Behind this, Shafir is in fact going to base Reaver. And I'm not sure if Jinjin knows. He built his eBay on time, and turrets are starting to go down, but they aren't placed in a ring. So placing your turrets in a ring is very expensive because you need to build like 6 of them. But that is the safest way to defend Reavers, is to make a ring outside your base. So either the Reaver player can't enter your base, or they have to like commit super hard and accept the fact that the Reaver's not coming back. But this turret placement is a lot more standard. It's safer against DTs. And it can also, to some extent, pretty reasonably defend a Reaver. Here comes the Reaver. Shuttle doesn't quite have speed yet, but we do have 2 Zealots in here. What you see a lot of Protoss players do is drop the Zealots first to aggro the tank shot and then drop the Reaver. There is a Goliath out on the field, so unfortunately this Reaver drop is not going to do too much. Oh, he gets the snipe on the Goliath, but a little bit late on the pick back up. These tank shots doing an insane amount of damage to that Reaver. Oh, we're trying pretty hard to dodge the tank shots, but unfortunately the Reaver micro is not quite snow level. We all wish, every Protoss player wishes they were snow, but unfortunately not everyone can be snow. Picks off the Vulture here. Still a good little victory for our Protoss player, and I expect him to be taking his 3rd base soon. It is a little bit late though. 8 minutes I think is a bit late for a 3rd base, but better late than never. Down it goes. And I think both players are pretty happy to just play this out. I would give Terran a bit of an advantage in this spot. Protoss, I think, devoted quite a bit of its eco to getting this Reaver out, and it didn't really pay off. The only thing it really did was make the Nexus like 2 minutes later. Alright, what is Esk talking about in chat? Why did Blizzard nerf the Reaver? What are you saying? When did Blizzard ever nerf the Reaver? When did that ever happen? Tell me the patch number and exactly what about the Reaver changed. Oh, really? Oh. That's interesting. I didn't... So was it like a... Was it like an exploit? Like, every time you drop out the Reaver, it shoots a Scarab, and then you load it back and drop it again, and then it shoots again? Like, it was like a way to get past the Reaver's shooting speed? Ain't no way I'm apologizing to Escalade. That's not happening. I'll apologize to anyone except Escalade. Alright, so Jinjin is in fact moving out. This is, of course, a 6 factory. I was too busy looking at chat to realize this. But this is, in fact, a 6 factory push. Theoretically, Reavers should be able to defend 6 fact if you micro it well enough, but you need to have, like, really good micro to be able to do it. But we're going to see if Shafir has that insanity Reaver micro that we need to defend this push. And unfortunately, the shuttle goes down. The Goliaths just have so much range. Reaver does get some decent shots on these lighter units, but the tank is what you actually need to kill. Oh my god! The Vulture lays mines next to the goon, and the goons just barely come out alive, and these Zealots are still slow. This push is not going to be stopped. Jinjin with the 6 factory push going to win the day, I think. These slow Zealots just aren't going to cut it. Speed now just kicking in, but it might be a little bit too late. Most of the Zealots are already dead, and they've already been pushed back into the main base. And all Jinjin really needs to do at this point is a move. GG gets called. And Jinjin takes it for Shift Clique 2-1. All right. And that is all for today. Thank you to all the players for submitting their games and playing this week. And thank you guys all for watching. Yes, Jinjin is in fact T1. You want us to raid non-multitasking SC? We can do that. We can do that. I don't think I have him followed, so yeah. We'll raid him. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. There we go. All right. So let's get the raid up. Oh, 0. Yeah, you just missed it. But nah, we're gonna raid multitasking. Jinjin is in fact tier 1. All these players are tier 1. They are all very, very good players. Jinjin T1 is the big lie. He's really good. Yeah, he plays really clean. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys all for tuning. The VOD should go up on YouTube pretty soon. Thanks to Dada for that. So if you missed any of it here, you can watch it on the CPL YouTube channel. But yeah, that is going to be it for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and go watch no multitasking. Oh my God, it's actually no multitasking, not nom-multitasking. Wait, is it nom-multitasking or no multitasking? We'll ask when we rate him. It's both. I like it. See you guys later.